Everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all super well and staying safe. So welcome to another mental health series video. Just want to say quickly before I start this video, I am not a therapist. I'm purely sharing my own experience that I have been going through and I'm still going through, in the hope that it might support you guys and help you guys. If you feel like you've got no one to talk to, if you're suffering in silence, please don't suffer in silence. Thank you so much for the amazing response to my first mental health video. I was so overwhelmed with the support. I've had so many lovely messages, and also I have had some sad messages. Like I feel sad that you guys are suffering as well, and some of you are really, going through experiences. And, I send my love to you guys. Stay strong. Please don't suffer in silence. If you are thinking about getting help or seeking therapy, I have popped links below, some really useful links. And please, if you are in an emergency and you desperately need help, there are hotline numbers in my description below, so please don't think twice. Please call one of those numbers if you really do need some help. But honestly guys, I've had amazing support from this video, so thank you so much. And also, thank you for sharing your experiences on my page, DMing me, like being so open about it. I really respect that. It's so courageous. And, some of you guys are having therapy now. Some of you guys have had it and you've come out the other side, and it's been amazing to hear all of your stories. So honestly, thank you so much for sharing them. And it really does make you feel like you're not alone. Episode 2. I thought I would focus on my relationship with my mum. It's something I briefly mentioned in my first video, and I shared with you guys that, I've had issues with my mum in the past, and we've always had a bit of a rocky relationship. And actually, my mum is the reason why I went to therapy and I sought counselling. So I thought I'd go a little bit deeper into my relationship with my mum, kind of open up about it, and also share with you guys my relationship with my mum before I started getting counselling and what my relationship is like now. So I'm just going to go with the flow of this video. I haven't really written out kind of a plan. I'm just going to blurt out lots of thoughts and feelings, and hopefully you guys can kind of understand and really get an insight into my kind of transition of my mindset and how it changed. My earliest memories, I've never really had a great relationship with my mum. Obviously, I can't really remember much from being a young child. When my mum and my dad were together, so I briefly mentioned in my first video, my parents divorced when I was about 5, maybe 6. I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember, but I was young. And when my mum was with my dad, I think, I look back and I think she was quite happy. Obviously, she ended up leaving my dad because my dad worked away all the time and he wasn't home a lot, and she had 3 children, very young children, and she just wanted someone there with her. And she met my stepdad, and she is still with my stepdad now and started a life with him. So I think, I don't know, like, it's weird. I think back and I look at photos and stuff, and my mum always looked so happy when she was younger. But actually, I do think there were lots of things going on in her life even then. But fast forward, my mum met my stepdad, and I've just always felt like my mum has just been a very angry person, very hot-headed, sees red a lot of the time, and it's just very volatile. Like, I've always felt like you just don't know how she's going to be on one day, like, and every day is so different. One day she could be fine, another day she might not be. You just don't really know what you're going to get with her. When I was younger, I just never knew how she was going to be. And even now, I think with my mum, like, there's so much that's happened in her life, and your past experiences mold you as a person, and and your parents. So your parents teach you, well, they don't really teach you, but how your parents are is, that's all you know. So you're going to be like them. As much as, you might think, oh, I'm not like my mum. And I've always said that. I'm not like my mum. I'm nothing like her. Actually, I am so much like my mum. And it took me a while to realise that through therapy, that I am actually very similar to my mum. And that's fine. Like, you've grown up with your parents, and you are going to become them. You're going to have traits of your parents in you. So yeah, that was a hard thing to discover through counselling, that actually, I've grown up with my mum, and I've always looked at her and thought, gosh, she's always so angry. She always goes a bit crazy. She's always so negative all the time. And actually, I do have those aspects and traits in me, in my personality, because you naturally are, because when you've grown up, your parents are the ones that have taught you what's right and wrong, and however they've acted. Like, I in myself have a lot of anger because my mum's had a lot of anger, and I've seen what anger is, and I've learned how to be angry, if that makes sense. So yeah, just from an early age, I've never really had a great relationship with my mum. I've never known what she's going to be like on one day to the next. So you're always kind of treading on eggshells around her, and because of that, I've always tried to be on her good side. So, there's a lot of siblings in my house. There was 6 of us growing up. We've always tried to stay on the good side of mum, because you never ever want to get on that other side of her, because if you're on the receiving end of her anger, it did end up physical. There was physical fights. It did end up violent, things being thrown around, I'm not going to lie. So you never wanted to end up on that side of her, and it was scary. Like, and that's the thing, you didn't want to end up on that side of her, because you had a fear. We feared our mum's angry side. It was scary, and it's horrible growing up, because none of me and my siblings were ever there for each other. We were always fighting for our mum's attention, fighting for that love, and fighting for that good side of our mum. And if you had that, you grabbed that, and you did not want to let that go. You didn't want your brother or sister getting that attention. You wanted that for yourself. And then if your mum turned on your brother, you're literally laughing at him like, ha ha ha, mum hates you and mum loves me. That was the kind of dynamic that I had growing up. And it's not a good one. It's not a good dynamic at all. And that's kind of, I really see that dynamic and how it's affected me in my life today. I'm going to go into my childhood dynamics and traumas and triggers in another video, because I want to really show you guys how that has affected me growing up. That's like a whole nother level of video that I'm going to go really deep into, because I find it so interesting. But yeah, today's just my mum's and mine relationship. I've always been quite scared of her, and it's actually something that I did admit to her recently, but I'll talk about that further in the video. Yeah, so I've always been scared of her, always fighting for her attention. I've never really felt loved by her, and I actually think it's because she's never felt loved. Her mum, when my mum was growing up, I think for the first 6 years of my mum's life, she actually lived with her auntie, and called her auntie mum. So already that's a dynamic that's not normal, because her mum worked and earned money for them to live, back in those days, which is fair enough. And I think my nan was very much, she loved working. She was a very hard worker, and I think that kind of was her priority at that time. A lot of people's priorities are different. And my auntie had a little baby of her own, and so because she was at home looking after her baby, it made sense that she then looked after her sister's child, which is my mum. So that sounds quite normal, but I think it did affect my mum growing up. And my mum got bullied at school. She's been the victim in a lot of situations, and I think that makes her vulnerable. And I think growing up and living with her, and her having all these past experiences, she doesn't want to be the victim. And so she makes us the victims. And I think she doesn't want to be on the other end, and she doesn't want to be a victim. She's been a victim. She's not liked it in the past. So why should she be a victim again? She's gonna be bigger and better than everybody else around her, and she's going to be the one in control. She's going to be the dominant one. So it is interesting when you really break down people's past experiences and knowing obviously how they are as a person, and you can kind of see the links. So yeah, my mum has always played the victim, you know. Growing up, she was always right. My mum was always right. Never ever was she in the wrong. You always felt like you were the one in the wrong. Always. It was always your fault, and there was nothing that you could do about it. You know, and it's a shame, you know, growing up we never had our mum there for us. If something went wrong, it was our fault. She wasn't there comforting us. She wasn't hugging us. We are not a huggy family. Putting it out there, we do not hug. We do not say our true feelings. We've never ever spoken about feelings. No one's allowed to have feelings, really. The only feelings that we've spoken about is anger. That's the only feeling, really. We've never ever spoken about any happy feelings. There's never been any kind of happy, positive vibes when I grew up in my household. It was always negative. The negative always came first and overshadowed anything positive. My mum is a very negative person. And yeah, just never been comforting, never comforted us. Even when my dad died, you know, I thought, all right, this, you know, death could bring us together. This could be a turning point. This could be the point where I get a hug from my mum and I feel it. I feel the love. But no, I mean, I grieved my dad alone and I dealt with it alone. None of us brothers and sisters were there for each other. Yeah, we just grieved alone. Our mum wasn't there for us. It's been tough and it's difficult, and it's made me not a very huggy, lovable person. I'm not a very huggy person. I find it uncomfortable. Not gonna lie, I find it uncomfortable to be even positive. I actually mentioned to my counsellor the other day, I find it uncomfortable just being in a situation where I know I want to be grateful for something, but I find it really uncomfortable actually saying and showing that I am grateful and thankful. And sometimes it probably comes across like I'm being a bit of a bitch, but I'm not. I've never ever had someone do something so nice for me to be grateful for. I've never had someone do something that I'm like, I want to say thank you and be grateful for. I know it sounds horrible, doesn't it? But I've never really experienced someone actually really doing something for me, and I've never learned that. I feel like that's something that's natural, but you learn these things through experiencing them, and I've never experienced it really. You know, obviously I'm experiencing it now. I've left my house and I'm growing up and I'm out. You know, I've had jobs. I'm in my friendship groups, I experience it, but it's still something that doesn't come naturally to me, and I find it very uncomfortable and awkward. And it's taken me a long time to even think that about me. You know, it's only really something that's come up recently in therapy, and that I'm really kind of looking into now. But yeah, you know, so yeah, I'm trying to sum up that I've never really felt loved by my mum. I felt scared of her. I felt blamed by her. I felt it was my fault. You know, not a very touchy-feely kind of feelings family. I've never felt like I could talk to my mum about anything. I've never felt like she's really been there for me. Yeah, I mean, the list goes on, really. And it's horrible. Like, I feel awful saying these things. But it is how I felt. I'm not saying that I felt that all the time. But summing up my childhood, they are the key things that stick with me and that I remember. And funny enough, the negative always overshadows the positive, and I've kind of learnt to live like that. I've learnt to live my life to it is negative thinking all the time. It's difficult, and I think, I don't know what it is about me as a person. I don't know how I've come out a bit different to my mum. Like, I feel sorry for my mum that she's experienced all these different experiences as a child and growing up as well, you know, in her relationships and marriages. She's experienced so many hard things, and it saddens me that she doesn't want to help herself, that she is happy. I don't think she's happy, but she's content with going through life being negative all the time and letting that take a hold of her. I don't know how I've turned out different. Maybe it is that I kind of did have that escape from my mum every other weekend with my dad when I was younger. Maybe that helped. I don't know. It's weird. But, like, I don't know how I have turned out a little bit different in the sense that I'm like, no, I want to help myself. I see my mum and I see what she's going through, and I think I want to be positive every day. I want to be positive. I want to try and be positive. I want to have, maybe it's because my dad died when I was young. Maybe it's because he died. I think I want to make my life the best I can, and I want to be as happy as I can. And I think maybe seeing my dad being taken away so suddenly, it did show me that life is too short, and we shouldn't, you know, I know it's so hard to be in this mindset. Some people suffer with depression and anxiety, and I've been in mindsets for months where I cannot get out of a mindset. I get stuck in mindsets of thinking about death, and I think about death and so negatively, and I get so scared and anxious about it, and I can't snap out of it, and you get sucked in, and it's like the negative thoughts take over. And I try my hardest to get out of it. And like one day I will just snap out of it. It's weird, but some people can't get out of that. And honestly, I really feel for them. Your mind can be such a horrible place to be stuck in sometimes, and it is so hard to get out of it. But I think having therapy and learning, do you know what? Actually, having therapy and just knowing what questions my counsellor asks me, I sit and ask myself, and actually I kind of counsel myself when I'm in a negative mindset to try and get out of it, and that actually has really helped. But yeah, so I mean, to sum it up, I'm going off the rails here, but to sum it up, I've always had a bit of a tough relationship with my mum, and if she has, you know, at times she has been interested in things that I've said, and these are good examples. So at times she's been interested in things I've said, and I'm like, oh my god, my mum is interested in my life. Oh, I'm going to latch onto that, and I latch onto it. And I give her information. And then she takes that information, and I feel like sometimes she uses it against me. And I don't know, I've never really understood why she's done it. But for example, there was a situation where me and Robin were buying our first dog, Luna. Amazing. Such an exciting experience for us. We were getting a dog. It should be such a happy, fun time. And it was. And we got our dog. And we went to see her, we put the money down, but obviously we couldn't pick her up for a couple of weeks. And then I remember being on the train to London one day, and my mum texted me a photo, and she was holding Luna. And I was like, hang on a minute, how are you holding my dog? What? And she said, oh, well, I want a dog, and I've gone to the same person that you went to, and I've bought your dog's sister. And I was like, huh? Hang on a minute. So you were interested in what I was talking about the other day because you wanted to go behind my back and buy my dog's sister. So I was like, interesting. This has upset me now. And I got very angry and upset because I thought, hang on a minute, this is my special time. And also, why didn't you just say? Why didn't you say you were going to do that? Why didn't you say, is that okay? Like, to do that? I know it's a funny thing to ask, but that is the kind of relationship I have with my mum. I just thought, hang on a minute, why have you gone behind my back? And then to send me a photo of my, like, holding my dog. I don't know. It was just a very weird situation. And actually, that was the second time I had to cut my mum out of my life because it just really upset me. And she's done it a few times where something big is happening in my life, like buying a house, buying a dog, and she does the same thing. So when me and Robin bought our first house, my mum and my stepdad wanted to buy a house to rent out. And for some reason, they were looking at the exact same houses that I was looking at in the same part of where I live. And I was like, could you just wait until I've bought my house? Because we're looking at the same houses. And obviously, this is really important to me. I'm trying to move out of London. I've got 5 months left renting in London. I need to move by August. And can you hold off? Like, you don't need to buy right now. You're just buying it for an investment, whereas I actually am buying a house to live in. Could you just wait? And that caused another argument. And that was, for the first month, I think, of me and Robin buying our first house, I didn't have my mum there for it because we fell out and there was an argument, and it was Robin's family that helped us move in. And again, she missed out on a pretty important, big thing of my life she wasn't there for. And she's missed out on quite a few things. And it's something that I never will fully understand. But that's other reasons what's pushed me away from her is because I've always felt like she's taken these big things away from me and made it about her. And she's not really been there for me. She's not experiencing that. So, yeah, I mean, I could go into more details and tell way more stories, but we're already 20 minutes into this video. So that's kind of a little summary of my relationship with my mum. I mean, to sum it very, very short, because I could be here for hours and days. But yeah, so briefly in the first video, I mentioned that there was a third time my mum cut me and my sister out. And because, I'd experienced that before, and because I think I was getting to the point where I was just so tired of this drama. I was so done with the family drama. I couldn't do it anymore. It was upsetting me all the time. It's taking over my life, and I just want to try, live my life positively, as positive as I can. It's draining. So I thought, do you know what? Fine, cut me out. Sweet. I'm going to have no drama now. And, I was like that for a year and a half. So a year and a half, and I sought therapy 6 months into that year and a half. So I was having therapy for a year. And I think I'd got to the point in my therapy where I started to look at my childhood and how it affected me and my life, and how it affected my adulthood and my personality, different traits I had, different triggers. And because I sat and thought, hang on a minute, my childhood has affected me. My mum's childhood has probably affected her. So I started I looked at myself and I was focusing on myself. And then I started thinking, hang on a minute, let me just look at my mum and what's happened to her. And I started piecing all these things together. Well, I'm like this because of this. My mum's like that because of that. And I was like, wow. And then I just suddenly thought, actually, do you know what? It's not her fault. I shouldn't be blaming her. It's not her fault at all. She can't help who she is. She couldn't help who her parents were. She couldn't help the way she grew up. She didn't choose to be this way. She grew up in this household and the way of living that she had, and that has made her the person she is today. And through all of her experiences, it's moulded her into the person she is today. And some people can't help themselves because that is them. They don't think that they need help. They don't see themselves being negative all the time. They don't see that. That is them. And that's fine, because that's them. That's who they are. And they can't see it. So I think when I started looking at things a little bit differently, I started feeling sorry for my mum. And I stopped blaming her. I stopped thinking it was her fault. And I thought, actually, I'm going to get upset. Oh, why am I going to cry? Why am I crying? God. Okay, give me a second, guys. I did not cry. Oh, I think, okay. Whew, we're going to be brave. I think, so, okay, why I'm crying. This is what I do. I sit and I think, why am I... The reason I'm crying is because one thing I've always just wanted is a mum. I've always just wanted a mum. I'm jealous of my friends. I see their relationship with their mums, and that is all I have ever wanted. All I've ever wanted is a mum in my life to love me, to be there for me. It's all I've ever craved, and I've never had that growing up. And getting counselling made me realise that it's not my mum's fault with the way she is. I think I blamed her for so many years, also I blamed her for so many years, but also I felt like a lot of it was my fault. Like, I felt it was me. I blamed her, but I felt it was me. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, she doesn't love me because it's me. It's about me. Like, maybe I'm horrible. Maybe I am a horrible person. Maybe I'm a horrible daughter. Maybe she doesn't like. I don't know. I think things that have happened in the past, I've always felt like when she chucked me out the first time and I lived with my dad and I chose not to go back, does she not love me for that? Like, has she held that against me for forever? Is she holding things against me? I've always felt like that. But in all honesty, all I've wanted is a mum. I would love to have had a mum growing up that cuddled me, that was there for me. You know, I would have loved all of those things. Unfortunately, I got dealt this family dynamic, and yeah, I mean, you don't have a choice. And I've kind of learnt to accept that that's happened, and I am trying to leave the past in the past because that's where it should stay. We shouldn't dwell on it. And I think this turning point in my therapy made me realise that actually there might be hope for a relationship with my mum in some way. You know, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be what I want, and what I need, but there could be something. And I thought, do you know what? I'm ready to talk to her. So it was a year and a half that we hadn't spoken, and that, you know, she'd been cut out for. And I thought, I think I'm ready. And I was not ready for ages. I wasn't ready for ages. I was actually scared for ages. I was scared. I was like, I can't go and talk to her, because if I sit and I talk to her and I say to her, this, and this, she's going to jump down my throat. She's going to be angry at me. It's just going to cause drama. I'm then going to cry because I always cry in front of her and I can't hold my ground. She always makes me feel so small, and then it's just going to end up being the same again, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I can't do it. But then one day I was like, do you know what? I'm ready. I think I'm ready. And it was after my mum had a phone call with my sister, and for about an hour, it upset me at the time that my mum didn't call me. But I have to say, I think it's because I said to my younger sister, tell mum not to contact me because I'm getting counselling, and when I'm ready to talk, I will talk. Sorry guys, Shadow's just come up and joined me, so there might be some heavy breathing or snoring in the background. So I was ready to talk. And yeah, there was this phone call. And my mum basically opened up about loads of stuff to my sister. And I was like, I'm a bit gutted, you know, she hasn't opened up to me about it. But that's interesting that she has opened up, because she never talks about her feelings. So I thought, okay, I think the time's now. I think the time is right. So I got my sister to organise it, and we met up. We met up in my sister's garden last summer, and it was awkward for the first hour because no one really said anything. Bearing in mind, we've not seen or spoken to each other for a year and a half. No one really said anything. Luckily, my sister had just had her garden redone, so we were like, oh, your plants look nice. Oh, the pavement looks nice. All this nice. And my sister had her dogs there, so we were like, you're just playing with the dogs and stuff. And then after an hour, I was like, oh, I did not come here for this awkward, like, friendly chit-chat. I came here for a reason. So I was just like, right, let's talk. And my mum sat there and she listened to me. And I thought, hang on a minute, is this my mum sitting and listening to me and not jumping down my throat and not shouting at me? What is happening right now? And I just sat and just said, you know, I've been getting counselling. This is what I've kind of learned about myself. This is how I felt about the past. And she listened. And there was one thing that shocked her, because she was actually listening. She actually really listened to what I was saying. And I said, I'm scared of you. And she said, what? I said, I'm scared of you. I still scared of you right now, and I've been scared of you my whole life. And she was taken back by it. She actually was like, what? And she said, wow, I didn't realise you felt that way. I'm so sorry. And I thought, hang on a minute. Did my mum just say the word sorry? Because she's never in the wrong. She never apologises. And I thought, she's just said the word sorry to my face. Hang on a minute. Is this a dream? And yeah, it was the weirdest thing. And so we spoke. I got a lot of stuff off my chest. Bless, my sister kind of didn't really say that much because my sister had kind of on and off been talking to my mum anyway, but I hadn't actually seen or spoken to her at all in the year and a half. And yeah, and then I went home and I felt relieved. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. She listened to me. I felt listened. I felt like she really took it on board. And I just was like, wow. And so I left first and left my mum and my sister. So afterwards I said to my sister, how did you think that went? Like, what did mum say? And she was like, mum just said that she feels really bad. She just didn't realise you felt that way. She really wants to try. She really wants to make it work. She wants to forget about the past. She knows that she knows our relationship in the past wasn't right, and she wants to start and make a new one. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on right now? She's actually, she's saying stuff that I want to hear. She's actually recognised that our relationship in the past was not right. That is a huge thing for my mum to even admit, and to even think that the past and how she acted in our relationship was not right, and that she wants a new one and to start again. I was like, wow, what is happening? And I was just so appreciative that she listened and took everything on board. And yeah, and so, okay, coronavirus has obviously messed it up because so after that meeting, we met each other quite a few times because it was about June, and in summer, it wasn't June, it must have been July? Must have been July. And I think, yeah, it was July or August. So in summer last year, with lockdown and everything, it wasn't lockdown, we were able to see people outside. So we had a few barbecues. I met my sisters and I sat down with my sisters, and my mum left us to it. I managed to, talk to my sisters. I've not spoken to my sisters about feelings ever. We sat down and I was, and it's weird. From counselling, I've learned really good questions to ask. I've learned to keep calm. And yeah, I feel like because I'm kind of content with learning about myself, and I'm happy and at peace with kind of how I am, and I'm growing in myself and trying to be positive. I've got no resentment towards my family, my mum, and I don't blame them anymore. I'm able to just be more relaxed around everybody, just take it on board. I can talk about feelings now. Honestly, we've never sat down and spoken about feelings before, my family, and we sit down and we would sit down and we were talking about stuff over dinner. It was the weirdest thing, and it's continued. It has continued like that. Obviously, I've not been able to see them since, I don't even remember, before November. Yes, the last time I saw my family was on my birthday, around my birthday in October, I think it was. But after that, I've not seen them. I've not really been able to sit down and really kind of put all of this to test. So we kind of had a bit of I kind of managed to start the journey with them. But it's a shame it's kind of taken a bit of a back step. But it's still going okay. I talk to my mum a couple of times a week, and it's nice because she actually is making more of an effort in terms of really asking how I am, how work is, what we're up to, how Robin is. She's really taken an interest in my life again, but not in the way that she was before. And I'm giving her more time now, and I'm really understanding her. I'm getting to understand her, and it's working. But it wouldn't have been that way if I hadn't have worked on myself. And it's funny because I didn't go to therapy to work on myself, but because I've worked on myself, and I'm still working on myself now, but because I've done that and I feel stronger, and I'm more open and feel okay talking about feelings, and I'm learning to talk about feelings, and I'm learning to put that anxiousness and awkwardness away and just to be honest. And I'm learning to do that, and I'm experiencing it. It is making it a little bit easier every time. So yeah, it's a shame about coronavirus because I've not really been able to carry on that journey with my family. It's taken a bit of a pause, but hopefully soon life will go back to normal and we'll be able to start meeting up again and really continuing that journey together. The only person that's not in that journey, though, I'm going to say this, is my brother. So my older brother, he's 15 months older than me. He hates me. He doesn't want anything to do with me, and he's made that very clear. And that's another thing that I've been tackling through therapy, is my relationship with him, because, again, it's very similar to my mum. I don't know what I've done wrong with my brother. And to be honest with you, I know I've done nothing wrong. I know I've done nothing wrong. It's in his head, and it lies with him. But he doesn't get therapy or anything like that, so he's not really been able to break down what it is about me that he dislikes. But my younger sister told me recently that he blames me for my dad's death. My dad died on a motorbike, by the way. I didn't kill him, but he blames me for his death. Part of me thinks maybe he resents me because I got to live with dad for 8 months before he died, and I got to experience that, and he didn't. He blames me for not being able to see my dad. He could see my dad. He blames me for not being able to see him. I don't know how. I never forced my dad to not see my brother. His feelings are valid, and they come from some place, and I've just got to respect that. And again, I feel sorry for him that he wants to live in this mindset and have those feelings towards me, because I am here and I am ready when he is. If he wants a relationship with me, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's also fine. He's clearly got demons in his head that he needs to deal with, but he needs to deal with it in his own time. And yeah, I'm kind of at peace with it. It's a shame that we don't have a good relationship, and it's a shame that I'm on this journey now with my family, and we're all talking, we're all bonding, and he's the only one that's not involved. But that is his choice, and if he is happy doing that, then that's fine. You can't force people to like you. You can't, and you can't force people to, do things that they don't want to do. If he doesn't like me, that's absolutely fine, and he has his reasons for it, and they are valid. They will be valid. It's his own experience at the end of the day. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video there. I feel like, yeah, that's a good ending point. Whoa, that was interesting. Did not think I was going to cry. Yeah, I hope you guys have had a bit of an insight into my relationship with my mum, and the fact that we are on a new journey now. It's positive. I want to leave that negative mindset, and I just want to look forward now, and I'm glad my mum wants to as well. I want to just leave my childhood where it is in the past, because that is where it belongs. There are happy times, 100% there are happy times, but yeah, I think I just want to leave the past in the past and focus on every day, and focus on the future, and focus on just rebuilding and trying to have a family and a relationship that I know we all want and need. And yeah, I think we are on the right path and the right journey. And it's crazy to think that if I didn't get therapy, none of this would have happened. And it's crazy that it's lying with me, but at the same time, I don't mind that. I'm happy if I can be that person to give my family a better life, then I think that's an amazing thing. And if I've had to be the one that's gone through this struggle of learning about myself, and it's been tough at times, it's been so hard, I wouldn't change it. I would do it all again, just so that if I can help my family be a family, then I think that's an amazing thing. And I'm probably going to cry again. So I'm definitely going to end it there. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Sorry, I feel like I ramble, but I think it's the best thing for me to do is just sit and just ramble, because I feel like you know, it really gets everything out rather than sitting down and be like, this is what I'm going to say. These are the bullet points. But yeah, sorry, I've rambled a lot. This is a long one. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Again, I've popped links below to any hotline numbers, any websites. If you want to seek help immediately, please use one of those hotline numbers. Please don't suffer in silence. Please reach out to somebody if you are really in need. And I've popped links below as well to any useful sites that you guys might want to look into in terms of getting a counsellor or seeking therapy, types of therapy. I am going to do a Q&A on like how to find a therapist and stuff like that, because a lot of you sent questions in about it, so we'll do that. Maybe that could be my next video. But yeah, please don't suffer in silence, guys. Take care, love you lots, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Peace out.